I'm Sharon Tazwell. Here's your Spectrum News in 90. Thursday marks 80 years since D-Day. The Allied invasion led to the defeat of the Nazis and the end of World War II. President Biden joined French President Emmanuel Macron to honor those who fought and served in Normandy. The president also took time during his address to show his support for Ukraine. At least 33 people were killed in an Israeli strike on a Gaza school, sheltering displaced Palestinian families. The dead, including 9 children and 3 women, were taken to a nearby hospital, which says it's been overwhelmed since Israeli forces launched a new offensive in central Gaza this week. Israel claimed the school was being used as a Hamas compound. The widow of Hunter Biden's brother, Beau, took the stand Thursday in Hunter's ongoing gun trial. Haley Biden testified about her brother-in-law's drug use and her interactions with the gun in question. She also told jurors that she found the gun as well as drugs in his car, and that the New York architect accused of murdering several women on Long Island is facing more charges. Prosecutors announced Thursday they're bringing charges against Rex Heuermann in 2 more killings. The 60-year-old was arraigned in the deaths of Jessica Taylor and Sandra Castilla. Those are your headlines now. Here's your weather on the ones.
Hey everybody, I'm meteorologist Nate Harrington. A tale of 2 different halves of the lower 48. You've got a cold front, showers, storms across the east on Thursday, and then a day of excessive heat in the desert Southwest, California. So we've got 2 different things going on, and it looks like that's going to continue as we end the week on Friday. And severe weather and heavy rain for the plains is on deck too, with that extreme heat for the Southwest and Central California for Friday as well. And then things get quiet for the weekend. We'll talk about that in your forecast coming up.
They gave their life. They gave their life so that I could make it.
Emotions running high on a special day in France. Veterans and world leaders gathered Thursday in Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharon Tazwell. The Allied invasion, which began on June 6, 1944, led to the defeats of the Nazis and the end of World War II. The assault began with Allied aircraft bombing German defenses in Normandy, followed by around 1,200 aircraft that carried airborne troops. Spectrum's Evan Kozloff reports on the memorials 80 years later.
D-Day veteran John Wardell receiving thunderous applause as France's president awarded Normandy on Thursday on the 80th anniversary of the Allied landing that was a turning point in liberating Europe from the Nazis in World War II.
In memory of those who fought here, died here, literally saved the world here. Let us be worthy of their sacrifice.
President Joe Biden taking a solemn tone, focusing on the challenges to democracy of today, drawing a comparison between the Allied fight against Nazi Germany and many of those same allies now supporting Ukraine against Russia's aggression today. Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, was also there, where he shared an emotional hug with a World War II veteran.
Oh, you're the savior of the people.
This was one of many commemorations happening across Normandy. On Utah Beach, U.S. Navy SEALs reenacted the landing of a naval battalion. On this same beach 80 years ago, Americans had heavy losses.
These guys are just unbelievably courageous.
There's Dennis McDonough says this anniversary is especially meaningful because with every passing year, there are less veterans to share their stories. He says there are only about 119,000 World War II vets that are left, and he says we're losing about 100 more of them every day.
Americans, when we're working together, there is absolutely nothing we cannot accomplish.
And President Biden is set to be back in Normandy on Friday, delivering another set of remarks on democracy and freedom. Over the weekend, he's going to attend a parade, a state dinner, and a wreath laying before heading back to the States on Sunday. In Washington, I'm Evan Kozloff, Spectrum News.
80 years after D-Day, the U.S. is still working to bring Americans killed in World War II home. It's the mission of the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency to search for, recover, and identify Americans missing from conflicts. And joining me now from this agency is Carrie Brown, a forensic anthropologist. Carrie, this is such fascinating work. So long after the war, how does your team even know where to start in their searches?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thanks for having me here today and offering the opportunity to talk about the amazing work that our team at DPA does all across the globe. We start with historical clues, threads that we can pull on by our dedicated researchers, historians, analysts to match up perhaps a set of remains that was unknown with historical circumstances of that person's loss. And we are all over the globe on a daily basis, looking at excavating crash sites and also in archives and looking at unknown burials to try and make that connection.
So how do you go about making an identification?
We actually use as many lines of evidence as are available to us. So for instance, we'll start with the historical circumstances where a person was lost today, and then we build out layering other lines of evidence such as DNA, using reference samples from families, dental evidence, anthropology evidence, like how tall a person was, how old they were, and we layer all of those together to come up with an identification which excludes all other reasonable possibilities.
And Carrie, this isn't just for missing service members from World War II, right?
That's correct. Our mission is actually from World War II all the way up to the first Gulf War. And so the largest number of unaccounted for service members are from World War II, but it encompasses all of the military branches and all the way up through the first Gulf War. And we're always looking for families who can contribute to the cause by giving their DNA if they have a missing service member.
All right, forensic anthropologist Carrie Brown, thanks so much. President Biden says he'll not pardon his son Hunter if he's convicted in a federal gun, would accept the outcome of his son's trial. The announcement coming as testimony continues in Delaware. The widow of Hunter's brother, Bo, took the stand Thursday describing her interaction with the gun and Hunter's drug use. Spectrum's Taylor Populares reports.
At the center of this trial is whether President Joe Biden's son Hunter knowingly lied about his illegal drug use when he bought and briefly owned a gun back in 2018. His sister-in-law and ex-girlfriend, Hallie Biden, took the stand Thursday and was pressed on whether she knew Hunter was using drugs during the month he bought the gun. Hallie ultimately testified that she did not actually witness him using drugs in October 2018 when he bought and owned the gun. She also spoke about throwing the weapon away that month after discovering it in his truck, saying she panicked and was worried Hunter would hurt himself as he battled addiction. The president's son faces 3 felony charges that accuse him of lying to a location he was not a drug user and illegally owning the gun for 11 days. The jury heard Hallie recount how a romantic relationship started between her and Hunter after his brother Bo, her husband, died of brain cancer in 2015. Appearing as a prosecution witness, she testified that Hunter introduced her to crack in 2018, but she stopped using it shortly after. A big focus of the trial has been testimony from Hunter's romantic partners, including his ex-wife Kathleen Buell and ex-girlfriend Zoe Kestan, recounting when they saw him using drugs. President Biden is overseas in France to mark the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but he was asked about Hunter's trial in an interview with ABC News. The president pledged to accept the outcome of his son's trial and not pardon Hunter if he's found guilty. In Washington, Taylor Populares, Spectrum News.
The death toll is rising in Gaza. School, which was run by a United Nations agency. At least 33 people died, including 9 children, 3 women, and 21 men. The Israeli military said Hamas militants were operating from within the school. Road to recovery, how FEMA is helping Texas residents following weeks of massive storms. Just ahead on Spectrum News.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
At Spectrum, we know how much you depend on the reliability of our products and services. Now, we've taken a new step forward in reliability by identifying potential service issues before they become a problem. If you're affected, we'll contact you and help schedule a free service appointment with one of our expert technicians. The proactive maintenance of our network is one of the many reasons Spectrum delivers the most reliable internet speeds in the nation. Spectrum, keeping you connected.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I...
Near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
10 minutes ago, we talked about the excessive heat across the desert Southwest and Central California. Highs on Thursday, El Paso at 106, Phoenix at double-digit heat in places like Las Vegas and parts of Southern California. And some heat for folks in Texas, Orlando again, and Florida at 97 degrees. But some cooler air is going to arrive. It's going to take a little while, especially for the eastern half of the country, but fairly quiet out there as we continue on through Thursday night into early Friday. Cold front moves off the coast, and then you're going to see showers and storms start to erupt in the central portion of the country by Friday afternoon and evening, and some of those could be strong and severe. This is not a widespread severe weather outbreak, but a small concentration of some areas, especially in parts of Nebraska, Kansas, seeing a chance, or at least a small chance, a level 2 risk of severe weather. We're not going to repeat all the severe storms that we had in the month of May. This looks like a very isolated chance. North Platte, Nebraska, parts of eastern Nebraska, including Omaha, northern Kansas, too, with the level 2 risk of severe weather. Less chance of severe storms, and then, again, you're going to have a chance for some extreme heat across parts of the desert Southwest. Again, Phoenix at 111, El Paso 103, and you get this heat dome across the south as well. Dallas 95, so will be Houston. You're going to have extreme humidity as well. So it's going to feel like the triple digits regardless of the actual numbers on the thermometer. Temperatures in the 90s too. And you compare that with some spots off to the north and east. You got 70s and even 60s for afternoon high temperatures, but we're going to start to see a little shift in our pattern. Some cooler air for the eastern side of the lower 48, while unfortunately more heat develops in the desert Southwest and the western side of the country. We'll talk about that in your forecast in just 10 minutes.
On Long Island is facing new murder charges related to the deaths of 6 women spanning 3 decades. As Spectrum News anchor Carla Redditt reports, the 2 new charges Thursday come after prosecutors say they gathered new DNA evidence and found a planning document the suspect used as a blueprint.
The Suffolk County District Attorney's Office in New York indicted Rex Heuermann on 2 new murder charges Thursday. According to the bail application, the indictment is in connection with the 2003 death of Jessica Taylor and the 1993 death of Sandra Costilla. Forensic scientists found hairs on both remains that could be linked to Heuermann.
Heuermann had a significant collection of violent, bondage, and torture pornography, which was dating back to 1994, and that material was very similar to the condition that the 2 latest victims were left in.
The new charges come just days after police finished on Long Island, tied to the investigation of a string of deaths known as the Gilgo Beach serial killings. The 60-year-old was initially arrested in July of 2023 for the murders of 4 women. In court Thursday, prosecutors also detailed a planning document Heuermann allegedly created in 2000 and modified over several years. According to the bail application, it outlines how to dispose of a body and how to avoid apprehension, as well as what supplies may be needed to carry out serial murder.
We allege that this document evinces the defendant's intent in committing the charged crimes, that his intent was specifically to locate these victims, to hunt them down, and to bring them under his control and to kill them.
Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to all the charges against him. He remains in jail without bail. His next court date is set for July 30th. Carla Reddit.
Texas have arrested 7 migrant smuggling suspects in a sting near San Antonio. The sheriff's office was tipped off, leading them to a house described as a shack with holes in the floor and no water. The suspects drove the migrants from the border, crammed inside a secret compartment in a trailer. Several were taken to a nearby hospital for heat-related injuries. Temperatures in San Antonio Thursday were in the high 90s. The crew of Boeing's Starliner mission arrived at the International Space Station Thursday. NASA pilots Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore cheered as they made their way out of the capsule, but it didn't happen without some drama along the way. The Starliner had to deal with some helium leaks during the long journey, but it docked after the first attempt was scrubbed.
To watch this team in action. They really make it look easy for all the issues that came up today, that's come up on this flight. They make it look easy. I hope you
will spend at least 8 days at the space station before returning. 5 more Texas counties are declared disaster areas after weeks of massive storms throughout the state. Now it's just a matter of getting help to those who need it. Spectrum's Brian Scott shows us the growing effort to get Texans back on their feet.
Door by door.
You're going to say
Texan by Texan if they have to.
We want to meet the survivors where they are.
FEMA Rep Nikki Gaskins Campbell's team spreads the word throughout Bell County. The word that neighbors need not dig out of this wreckage alone.
Find out what the needs are, how we can possibly help them, if we can assist them with registering for disaster assistance.
Via federal help that needs to go a long way. Here, it's now been 2 weeks since a tornado wrecked homes and businesses near Temple. And neighbors tell Nikki's team that
we are averaging about 150 homes a day, so it's a lot.
But if only this was isolated to here. FEMA now lists dozens of Texas counties as disaster areas. Some from straight-line winds and flooding. Others from one of the dozens of tornadoes that have now hit the state in this very active first half of 2024, where lives have even been lost to nature's fury.
Cut down the tree, we're good.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Nikki and her fellow FEMA reps can't heal all of the scars left on neighbors here, but hope to at least help them get the fight started, teach them how to apply for those federal funds before they move on to the next tattered community to spread the word there.
We want people to start that road to recovery as quickly as possible, to get back to some sense of normalcy.
Door by door.
Coming up on Spectrum News.
Here's the deal. In this election year, people need a place to explore national issues that have an impact on their community. To understand those issues better, we're bringing together our team of local political journalists from across the country to break down what's happening. So join us every week to catch up on the key stories making a big difference across the nation and in your local community.
Watch The Big Deal with Errol Lewis Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Spectrum News Plus. Available on all of your favorite devices exclusively on Spectrum.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Six days into hurricane season. Thankfully, nothing out there that has our attention just yet. Now, this is slated to be a very active hurricane season. I'm sure you've heard all about it with a strengthening La Nina as we continue on through the season. But just some areas of random thunderstorms. I don't have to talk too much about it, but if any storms start to form, we'll definitely make you aware. So our Saturday and Sunday, the weekend ahead, not too bad. We'll have the dying out showers and storms in the midsection of the country early Saturday morning, but you notice the front is off the East Coast. Pretty quiet weather on Saturday afternoon. Some isolated showers popping up along the Front Range and the Rockies, and some showers as an area of low pressure scoots across the north and east. On Sunday, it's more of the same. Could see a few more showers develop as another front approaches for folks in the eastern side of the country, and more showers and maybe a few thunderstorms too in the Great Plains. But again, it's going to be a pretty warm day for Saturday. Not quite as hot. There will be a little bit of heat relief. 109 in Phoenix instead of the 110s and 1-teens. 96 in Dallas. Some pretty warm stuff all the way up the Great Lakes region, the northeastern portion of the country. Temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. It's going to be a little cooler, too, as we head into next week. More on that in just 1 second. But the heat remains across the south, while more comfortable conditions on Sunday. We'll also watch a few showers developing for the eastern side of the country. The upper-level winds, yeah, this is going to be a big-time change. Notice this big dipping trough in the east and a big dome of high pressure in the west. That's going to equal some big-time heat out west, but some cooler numbers and a chance for a few showers on Monday and into early Tuesday for folks on the East Coast, but a big-time cool down for sure. Notice the big difference. This unfortunate heat is going to persist. The 6 to 10-day temperature outlook does not look great for the areas that are already baking under the sun, but a little cool down expected for the southern plains, the Gulf Coast. A bit of a change for us, but unfortunately got to still deal with a lot of heat out west.
A judge has erased the convictions of a St. Louis couple who waved guns at demonstrators during a Black Lives Matter protest outside their home back in 2020. Attorneys for Mark and Patricia McCloskey filed a request in January to have their convictions wiped. Well, the judge said in his ruling that an expungement is meant to give people who have rehabilitated themselves a second chance. Now, the McCloskeys are demanding the city return the 2 guns it seized. A Kentucky baseball player is covering all the bases by also coaching his team. Spectrum's Sam Neff shares why he's taking a swing at both roles.
In baseball, talent only takes you so far. Sometimes you need a good perspective. Craig Massey is trying to do that with the Florence Yalls, but at 35 years old, he's still got talent to provide on the field and behind the plate. He's a player coach, which he says isn't rare, but also not something you see a lot.
You do see it a few places in independent ball with the older guys. I love it. It's been great. I think it helps. We have a great group of guys, some hungry young players. I just want to help them the best I can in ways that I would have liked to have been helped at that age. And I ain't got to do a whole lot, but just try and guide them the best I can and give them some experience.
A native Tennessean, Massey has been here in Florence for 4 summers, staying with a host family. This is his first season taking on the role of hitting coordinator, while also continuing to play first.
Yeah, when I'm in the dugout, I do have to think more of a team approach, the team at bats, than just worry about myself.
The life of an independent baseball player isn't the most luxurious, and after 11 years, it would be easy for Massey to hang up his glove and focus on his athletic facility back home. But he he still loves the game and loves it here in Florence.
It's more fun being more personal with the people that are cheering you on.
A lot of the younger players have dreams of making it up to the big leagues. Massey says he wants to help them get there, but also teach them to live in the moment and remember why they play.
The most fun baseball is playing team baseball and winning.
It's been an up and down season for the Y'alls, but Massey says they have everything they need to get where they want to go. And as for whether dipping his toes into coaching will lead to coaching full time in the future, he's taking it one play at a time.
I like to keep my options open for as long as I can, and something great comes along the way, then we'll roll with it.
In Florence, Sam Neff, Spectrum News.
I'm Sharon Tazwell. Thanks for watching. Our Spectrum News at 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
At Spectrum News, we're committed to strengthening the fabric of local communities through our reporting, with stories that inspire and news that matters. Streaming live on your smart, the Spectrum News mobile app, keeping you informed and in the know throughout your day. Spectrum News Plus, local stories, connecting communities. Exclusively for Spectrum customers. Now available on your favorite devices.
At Spectrum, our workforce of over 100,000 employees are all located right here in the U.S. You can find them in our stores, in the field, and in our call centers with 100% U.S.-based customer service. Our team works hard to provide the towns, cities, and neighborhoods they live in with the reliable services that everyone counts on, making us one of America's most trusted companies. We're Spectrum, creating jobs and opportunities across the country, and proud to be 100% U.S.-based.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
Designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.